Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here again, and thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. And today I'm joined by consultant and coach for change management and transformation, Meike Bettscheider, who is here to discuss her education and experiential journey that has taken her calling as a personal architect of change. Meike's toolbox includes proven strategies for leadership and change management and unconventional approaches such as epigenetics coaching, and I'm going to make an attempt at this, psycho-physiognomy, which is, I don't know if I said that right or not, which is the art and science of face reading, which we'll get to a little bit later here, hopefully. Meike's out of the box methods represent prosilience, which is proactive resilience, the art of turning hurdles into transformational sources of strength, and her deep understanding of diverse cultures enables her to connect with people around the world. Meike holds an Executive MBA from Chicago Booth and an Executive Master of Coaching and Consulting and Change Management from INSEAD in France, with further executive studies in Hong Kong and London. Originally from Germany, Meike has enjoyed a journey that has spanned continents and has helped her develop a deep understanding of cross-cultural dynamics. Meike now resides in Greece and offers coaching and consulting services from there. And here's a fun fact for you. Meike is also a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, which is excellent, and I'm going to make sure I don't mess with you at all today, just so that I don't get my I don't get my bum whipped, so to speak. So, Meike, thank you very, very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Gary, for having me and the very kind introduction.
Excellent. So your journey has taken you literally across the globe, and you've worked in various settings and various cross-cultural settings. And how have these diverse experiences shaped your approach to change management and leadership development?
Working and living in so many places in the world has really shown me how valuable it is to see the world through, different lenses.
Yeah.
Because every culture I've been able to be part of has shaped how I approach leadership. And I've learned that change itself, which we see every day, everywhere, isn't just about adjusting or adapting. It's about genuinely embracing new perspectives. So when I work with my clients, leaders from this time, I bring this, I call it wave compass approach to help them surf through changes or challenges with resilience and curiosity, because I think that's very important too, because it's not just about getting from A to B, it's about navigating the whole journey of change and embracing each turn with fresh insight, which makes change less painful.
Yeah, I've talked very often about change management in general terms, and there's the adage that people, human beings, are naturally averse to change, and I don't think that's true. I think they're open to the change, they're open to the benefits of what will happen at the other side of the change, but not so enthusiastic about the journey, because the journey to the change is when the unknowns come in. It's when possibly the hard work comes in, and some, maybe potentially some difficulties too. Do you see a resonance with that, or do you disagree with that? It's just been my experience.
No, it's absolutely my experience as well. And I think that's just human nature, that we're afraid of the unknown, the
Yeah,
uncertainty which comes with it. But I'm a real advocate of always seeing the good things, the chances,
yeah.
because and staying curious. And just that simple sentence, stay curious, takes the anxiety away from anything, because we change is something great, can result in growth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you describe yourself as an architect of change. Can you elaborate for the listeners on what that means to you personally and how you use that, how you apply that to the concept in your work with leaders today?
Yes, of course. I call myself architect of change, because it's really for me about building something strong and flexible as a foundation for my clients that can handle whatever comes its way, every change or crisis. Um, I see myself as a designer for a solid foundation with room for growth and adaptation, because change is always a process, right? And
Yeah.
I work with leaders to create that structure because it's always individual,
Mhm.
and tapping into methods, special methods you mentioned before, like epigenetic coaching or face reading, psycho-physiognomics. You spelled it out very well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Unlock deeper self-awareness, because this is how it starts from my perspective. And this way, we, the client and myself, are not just managing their change, we're building a path
Yeah.
that's meaningful and transformative, because it's all about finding what really drives them, their strength, so then they can lead authentically and confidently through the unknown, as we described it before.
Yeah, I love that concept of charting a path, building a path, rather than saying, "Here's my methodology. Here's what you do at stage one. Here's what happens at stage two. Here's what you'll be expected to carry out in stage three." It's bespoke. It depends on the leader, depends on the circumstance, depends on the situation, and then you create something together that's appropriate for them in that moment to navigate the change as quickly as possible. In terms of the the vast experience globally that you've had, would you say that there's any particular culture that would be more resilient to change or more excited by change, that would lean into change more, or any particular cultures that you say you've had more of a difficult time in terms of change? Has that been something that you've noticed in terms of patterns?
Um, it's a great thought of you. From my experience, it really depended to the person, to the personality, to the
Okay.
circumstances. Because yeah, every culture has its nuances,
Hmm.
and but the situation counts. It's more like how they deal with change that
Yeah.
comes from the various cultures. But at the end, it's really the person who can deal with the change easier or more resilient
Yeah.
because of their past, their history, or personality than others. And it's very important how they also live that as a role model for the rest of the company or organization.
Yeah, yeah, just to have that influence throughout the journey at the same time, so that they'll model good behavior and people will look to that good behavior. Good, I guess, probably is in inverted commas, but that type and style of behavior that they would like to see modeled within the organization. So I'm excited to get to the next part. I did mention it earlier about the epigenetic coaching, and I'm comfortable saying the epigenetic coaching, but also the psycho-physiognomy in leadership development, which is face reading. Can you explain, what these techniques are and how they empower leaders to transform the challenges that they're facing into opportunities?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And I always get the question, how do you apply these kind of at the first few special methods?
Yeah,
But all these methods really get to the core of a leader's potential. That's what I said earlier. It depends on the individuum,
yeah,
how to deal with change or crisis. And so these methods help with that individual potential to figure that out very quickly. Epigenetic coaching for instance, looks at how the leader's environment and even genetics might influence their behavior,
Yeah.
while psycho-physiognomy or face reading basically reveals innate strengths that might be hidden from the first view, because we were born with the personality, and then life happens, our circumstances happens, our uprising, our upbringing, our jobs, our careers, our partners, our friends, whatever happens, and that forms our character. But
Mm.
everyone says in our days, be authentic, and then you can make clear decisions. Be yourself, then you can be a great leader. But do we really know who we are
Yeah.
deeply? And face reading really helps, because these are the features in the face, and it's not about mimic or gestures. It's really what we are born with.
Yeah.
And I can see things like willpower or leadership style or, communication skills. And when leaders can see themselves so clearly and focusing on the strengths and the qualities, they're empowered to navigate challenges or crises with a whole new confidence.
Yeah.
It's like flipping a switch, and I love to see that, because they start seeing obstacles as chances, like we discussed at the beginning,
Yeah.
to apply their strengths, their qualities, and making growth possible even in tough times.
Yeah. So in terms of, so it's not literally body language where someone will frown or smile or use their face in some sort of contorted way. It's the literal landscape of their face as is that you use to help them with an understanding of who they truly are.
Exactly, exactly. And you can see so many things. As an example, your forehead has 34 areas where you can see qualities and talents, and we barely know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what sort of feedback do you get on the face reading if you say, I'd like to propose something slightly different? What about doing this? Do you have some leaders who are saying, whoa, wait a minute, this is just my face, you know?
Yes, of course, and I can totally understand that, because that was my initiative reaction when I heard about that. I come from a very corporate business background, of course, mixed with some psychology, and at the same time, I was like, "Wow, what is that?"
Yeah.
But yes, when they of course they test me, which I understand,
Yeah.
because it's a 1,000-year-old science.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I understand, I have empathy for somebody who says, that sounds weird. And, when I even
Yeah.
say that's a secret weapon for negotiations, that's a secret weapon for critical communications, and
Yeah.
it's never judgmental. And then I do some tests. So I gave them some qualities I see immediately,
Yeah.
with and at the same time pointing out that's not a game, it's not a party game, it's not a
Mhm.
dinner game.
Yeah.
At the same time, I understand you want to understand it. I give you some insights, and then there, I've never ever had anybody who afterwards said, wow, I I didn't thought that
Yeah.
really worked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating, to have
Mm.
different opportunities to be able to read different people, literally in this occasion read different people in different ways to give them information they didn't have before, hidden skills, hidden qualities, hidden abilities, or at least
Yeah.
the potential to access those hidden skills, qualities, and abilities. So we talked earlier in the bio about prosilience, the proactive resilience. Can you share a practical example of how you've helped leaders develop resilience in the face of change that they've been navigating?
Yeah, sure. Sure. For example, I worked with a leader going through a major company shake up, which we see a lot
Hmm.
these days. and he really felt totally lost. So together we reframed the way he saw the situation, from being stuck in the change to stepping up to lead through it. And this is kind of what prosilience is. I go with them, with my specific methods, through the change, pointing out the good sides on it with their qualities. And if they need something, we get that on board too. So using face reading, we pinpointed his unique strengths, and he began to see himself as the navigator of the ship, and it
Yeah.
was a total mindset shift. And now he leads his team through challenges with confidence, less anxiety, and a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
inspiring them to see change as an opportunity rather than a setback. And that's the essence of prosilience, not being exhausted after going through something, and honoring, oh, I was resilient, I am resilient, but
Mhm.
even more to thrive, not just survive, for the
Yeah.
next challenges. And we all will face challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, back to what I was saying earlier, it's that opportunity to inspire other people through there, because if the leader is in some way all of the things you described, unconfident, nervous,
Mhm.
anxious, in some way indecisive or something like that, then that's going to cascade through the organization and everyone's going to feel a level of that. Whereas if it's the opposite, not with unwanted enthusiasm about a change that might not feel in the moment positive, but to have that appropriate level of energy. And one thing that really came out for me, Mikey, as well was, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time now, is distractions. And if you are in your head, if you are worried, if you are stressed, if you are anxious, that's all very distracting. And it then, the internal chatter that can be going on inside your head is taking you away, taking your focus away from your ability to be able to see the situation for what it is, to be able to lean into the situation and say, this is my role, this is what we need to do, this is the best foot forward, and take it from there. And with all these distractions that are literally around us all day, every day, then add into that you're trying to navigate and lead through, say, for example, a complex change. I mean, it's incredible that people can even navigate that in the first place, let alone do it with grace and purpose and presence at the same time. So it's very, very important work that you're doing, and I'd love to hear a bit more about it. Maybe we'll have a conversation down the line sometime to see how things are going over time. Before I get to how people can contact you, I'm trying a new thing on the pod now, to give the opportunity for the interviewee to give some guidance and advice that's slightly outside maybe the area of their focus. So what's one regular practice that you employ that enables you to become the best version of yourself each and every day?
I thought a lot about that, which is a great question. And I'm, helping people to on their way of self-awareness,
Yeah,
and me wanting to be authentic, what I preach. So I want to do that myself. I'm very big on self-reflection, to be honest.
right.
Every day I carve out a little bit of time to check in with myself.
Mhm.
Am I staying true to my values?
Yeah.
Am I being authentic? Are these values still the same? How do I live them?
Mhm.
And I know it sounds very simple, but it's very grounding.
Yeah.
And it keeps me connected to what matters and helps me bring my best self also into every coaching session I do have with my clients.
Yeah, it's such an interesting topic, and I love that you said self reflection. And adding in the fact that it sounds so simple, but it's so effective and so foundational to living that authentic life as you described. I was chatting with a class last night actually as we were going through it, and I said build in, however you do it, because people reflect in different ways. Some people would reflect, for example, I reflect a lot when I'm running, because I'm running, and running is kind of boring, when you get going, unless there's beautiful scenery and stuff to see, but I don't absorb the scenery so much because I'm so concentrating on not falling. But
Yeah.
when that's the moment where there are no electronic devices, there is nothing other than me and my body and my breath and my mind. And some of these epiphanies have come to me, some of my life epiphanies have come to me during a run, where I'm thinking, oh, why am I doing that? Why am I not doing this? Why did I stop doing this instead of keeping going and such? So the self-reflective practices, they're different for different people. Some people get it from reading, some people get it in the shower, some people get it, on the bus or driving or whatever that looks like. But the message I had given to the class last night was, at the very least, if you don't know how to do this, that's okay, because you'll find a way that works for you, that's going to make the most sense. But we all have our smartphones these days. Why don't you set a reminder twice or three times a day that just comes up and says whatever it is you want to say? It could literally even say self-reflect,
Yeah.
and if nothing else, you could look, and just for that fleeting moment, second, in a meeting, heading to a meeting, just finished a meeting, whatever your life structure looks like, you have that opportunity to go, am I okay? How am I doing? How have I
Yes.
been? How do I
Yeah.
want to be? And if nothing else, if the phone is absolutely locked to you during your waking hours anyway, use it for good,
Yes.
for your own good. So I leave that not as a prescription for anyone, but just as something that if you're struggling to get started, that at least you might do that and then start to find, I actually don't need the phone. I would like something, more visual, or I have an internal body clock that can tell me what I need to be and what I need to be doing in terms of self-reflection. So I love that. Thank you very much for sharing that. Where
Thank
can
you.
people find out a little bit more about you, Mikey?
So via my website, www.compass-setting.com, or on Instagram, or yeah, so that's more. Or seeing me next June, I'm planning a retreat, a transformation retreat on a beautiful Greek island.
Wow.
So that's also a great opportunity to
Excellent.
explore all my
Yeah.
methods.
And the details for that are on your website.
Are on my website,
Yeah,
exactly.
and your website, I have to say, I check out everyone's website prior to having a conversation with them. Your website is stunning. It's so
Oh, thank you
beautifully laid
so
out,
much.
and it's
Thank
incredible.
you.
It's very interactive, the way that the imagery complements the text and such. I haven't seen a website as nice as that for quite some time, I have to say.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Mikey, thank you very, very much for coming on the show today. I learned a lot, and hopefully the listeners did too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hello again. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode, and I do hope that you found it valuable and gained some insights. I do have an ask for you. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would absolutely love it if you would connect with me on my socials, and that's at LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for my name and do whatever it is you need to do there to follow me and stay updated with all the latest content, tips, and discussions. And for any more resources that you're looking for, feel free to visit my website, garygillen.com. And while you're there, you can book a free, no obligation 30-minute coaching call directly with me through the site. Whether you're looking to enhance your performance or tackle a new challenge, I'm absolutely here to help you succeed, and I would absolutely love to hear from you. Thanks very much again, and until next time, keep pushing towards your goals and getting better each and every day, my friend.